What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another XRP update. Like and sub if you want daily crypto news, and let's get right into it. So I wanted to kick things off with this Coinbase announcement on March 21st. I think this is very relevant, especially because many of us are hoping that a lot of these exchanges begin to relist XRP at least in the near future, and we're going to explain why. So Coinbase exploring support for 43 altcoins after addition of crypto asset Cardano, ADA, congrats to everybody that has held through, especially when it was dirt cheap just last year. Now, to add assets on Coinbase, we do know that they have that, the regulatory framework, so you have to check off all those boxes. And one example would be a mainnet. So Cardano, finally good to go, well deserved for anybody that held it long enough, all right? So we can see the list of assets that they're exploring. We do know that they've actually rolled out and added a few recently, but we have Digibyte, Horizon, we have LPT, we even have Origin Protocol, OGN, funny enough. We have Sia Coin, VeChain, Render, and a lot of these assets. And now right here for its custodial platform, Coinbase Custody, the exchange is still exploring the possibility of supporting these 34 coins. Now what sticks out to me? Well, AMP, we have Ampleforth, of course, which is very, very interesting with an algorithmically controlled circulating supply. I think it's a good swing trading opportunity personally. I know that it does that rebasing, I believe every 24 hours, but if you ever see it, drop well below 80 cents, I usually try to snag some because sometimes you can get an easy 20% return. That is not financial advice. I'm gonna encourage you guys to read the white paper, and I'm still trying to, get my head around it, to be honest. Let's see, we got Curve, we have Elrond, Ontology, I'm circling it, pay attention. We're going to keep moving here. We got RSR. Let's see. Terra Luna, one of the babies, VeChain, Tron. So it's been a long time coming. So just wanted to point that out. Notice we have Michael Arrington. There is zero risk for Coinbase and others to now relist XRP. Exactly. And I appreciate, lawyers giving their insight like Jeremy Hogan out there. Greatly appreciate them. And the reason being is, well, right here, here's a quote. My understanding about XRP is that not only does it have a currency value, but it has utility, and that utility distinguishes it from Bitcoin and Ether, the judge said, according to Hogan. Now, keep in mind, no asset is perfect. Of course, we've heard a lot of things, and now it's coming to light, not even conspiracies with Ethereum. It is kind of disheartening. It's kind of scary to see what's really going on in this game. But nonetheless, I still have full faith in XRP, the adoption of this digital asset, and I think that we make it out of this storm eventually. So just wanted to share that. All in all, even Hester Peirce, the SEC commissioner, she basically just said, in a way, she did not say XRP, but she said a utility token or using it in a payments network does not sound like, or it sounds like a utility token to me. So very, very interesting. Now, right here, guys, so thank you for, I believe it was Esfanitz. Yep, so thank you, sir, for tagging me in that, and I just greatly appreciate it. So we have the BIS. We already went through this because Deutschland XRP had one of the best threads ever, going through high-level, essentially connections and links, and everything was sourced. So we have the BIS now, using words that, again, Ripple has been using for 5 years plus. The financial system is moving away from closed gardens, walled gardens, these fragmented silos. We have to break down the borders. So to working with many service providers in a safe ecosystem. And who do we have here? Kahina Van Dyke. So, world is the stage, of course. We see now that she's global head digital channels and client data analytics at Standard Chartered Bank. Also, fun fact, this is actually based in Singapore. Are we seeing a common trend? Everything is happening in Singapore, time and time again. Look at how many people Ripple is even hiring there. Singapore, Brazil, New York, and of course even San Francisco. And all eyes are also on London. So we have this gentleman, Noah from Stripe, we got WeBank, we got University of Hong Kong, so something to pay attention to. Even XRP Crypto Wolf just pointing it out, Kahina Van Dyke, she worked at Ripple, and when she was hired at Standard Chartered Bank, Brad Garlinghouse said that Kahina was only a node away on the network, referring to the XRP ledger. No surprise. And keep in mind, just for anybody, for brand new people, I know this is old news, but 2016, when Ripple announced RippleNet, the global payment steering group, 2016, who were founding members, who were early investors? Besides Bank of America and Santander, UniCredit, we have Standard Chartered. This is not a coincidence whatsoever, all right? So we're going to keep going here. Where was I? So we have this BIS Innovation Summit, and I did want to show you Kahina Van Dyke's LinkedIn really quick. So notice C-suite banking exec, Fortune 100 corporate board, top 10 women in fintech, top 100 black leaders. She has a very interesting resume, and you can see right in Singapore over at Standard Chartered Bank. She was also, when she was at Ripple for nearly 2 years, as SVP of Business and Corporate Development. Then, during that time as well, not a coincidence, she was actually on the board of directors as an observer for MoneyGram. So we can see a common trend. Not even being conspiratorial, but just using basic logic and deductive reasoning. Don't you think that she still has good relationships with the employees over at Ripple? And now, with Ripple has an office in Singapore, and she is essentially based in Singapore, that they'd potentially be working together since Standard Chartered actually has a node on the XRP ledger? Or maybe I'm just crazy and, in 5 years, we're all still going to be idiots. All right, so let's see, BIS Innovation Summit, as we can see here, hear from global leaders on key issues around cross-border, retail payments, central bank digital currencies, banking, and the new digital ecosystem. Talking about DeFi, decentralized finance, guys. The BIS is talking about DeFi. Now, I know, some people hate Bitcoin. I love what this altcoin market has done for public awareness. Now, yes, it's crazy publicity. Not everything's perfect. There's some scams, some is pure hype. But you're not putting this genie back in the bottle. The utility that this network, that this technology can provide is insurmountable. So data, analytics, AI, cloud technologies, as well as cultural and organizational changes that may be needed with central banks to meet the challenges of this digital age. And yes, the pandemic has accelerated these efforts. So we can see some of the speakers. Remember, we've gone through this. Thank you to Deutschland XRP, sir. That was a phenomenal thread just a few days ago that we did go over. Unless it was yesterday. Wow, I can't even keep track. So Raphael, right here, principal economist of the BIS, the central bank of all central banks, discussing cross-border multi-CBDC arrangements. There's a lot of assets working on interoperability, like Quant, like Algorand, you name it. I mean, I don't want to name any assets because I'm always going to leave out a few and somebody's going to leave a comment. But nonetheless, this is so exciting. We can see, of course, Tobias was on stage with Brad Garlinghouse. Who is he? Financial counselor and director at the IMF, side by side. Oh, we have Bank of England right here, paid RippleNet client. We have Swift with the new CEO, Javier, rather than, what was his name, Lebrant. And he was on stage with Brad Garlinghouse one-on-one, doing questions and answers. Do you guys see, and this was years ago, why was some CEO of what they call a small company, Ripple, which I think will be a behemoth, and I think they're already very large and successful, on stage, side by side, one-on-one with, what was his first name? I'm blanking. Lebrant, the former CEO of Swift. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And do you see why the XRP community is so large? And I mean, frankly, a lot of them are capitulating, but I am holding a portion of XRP for a very long time because I feel that I know how this game is played. All right, so we'll keep moving. Went through Kahina Van Dyke, and let's see. So overall, this article, notice this was written by Marcus Treacher. This is a gentleman. He's no longer at Ripple now, and that makes me think that his job is potentially done. Background at HSBC. Don't even need to explain that. And of course, even Swift. And we're talking decades of experience. And he was, what was he, SVP of Customer Success. Please go listen to some of his old videos discussing plans for Ripple, discussing Swift, discussing working with, huge banks, specifically building and working and leveraging DLT. And when you watch hours of that content and you actually see their network and who their peers are within other banks or governments, you get excited. It's really hard not to get excited. So when people are looking at the charts, looking at the 30-minute chart, we come down 10%, they're freaking out. I stick to the research. When in doubt, zoom out. It always helps keep me calm and composed with any trade I'm in, because I'm not investing or trading any assets that I do not understand, or at least understand the potential risk. Okay? So, really quick, guys, Wrath Economy, he's one of the most underrated pages in the XRP community. Definitely give him a follow. Tracking Ripple partner Wire Barley of South Korea mentioning expanding services to the Middle East in their announcement of a $10 million Series B funding round. Note, in July, they partnered with Alipay. Now, of course, RippleNet, we're already integrated with who? DLocal. I almost said UnionPay. And DLocal is integrated and connected to Alipay and UnionPay. Alipay. UnionPay is just, how big these groups are, guys. UnionPay is bigger than Visa and MasterCard. So think China. Very powerful stuff. So Alipay for remittance into China. Remittance, this is cross-border payments. This is one of the things that hopefully DLT can mitigate. XRP is tackling some of the illiquid corridors at first, doing a top-down approach. And I think that they're going to have massive success. We know FlashFX has announced, what was it, just a few weeks ago, that they are building and working on new on-demand liquidity corridors. What does that mean? New utility, new currency pairs for XRP, the digital asset, to flow in a bi-directional manner. And what happens when there's more volume and more demand for XRP, even though people think it has such a huge supply? I don't think you guys understand when it's constricted. And a lot of those assets sometimes are actually going to be put to work in Flare, on Flare networks. When it goes live, there's not as much XRP circulating as we think. So my argument is that in the future, this could really push price up more than we even think. There are additional multiplier effects that are possible for appreciation in this digital asset. Okay, so they also mentioned Europe in developing a multi-currency wallet. The Middle East mentions sounds like a potential Ripple XRP connection, but again, this is still just an assumption for now. The reason being, though, is because I know Raph has done his research. He does phenomenal research, and it makes me think of Naveen Gupta, thinking about the connections and meeting with SAMA, the Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, meeting with all these groups in the UAE, having an office in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia. So all these things are going through my mind, and unfortunately, I don't even know how to list them all, because then it would be a 50-minute video, and I want to try to keep this short and concise, because I know you guys appreciate those 14-minute videos, and I suck at that. So right here, everything's linked below if you guys want to check this out, dating back to even Feb 2020. New Ripple partner, Wire Barley, short version, just talking about, notice, South Korean APAC remittance. APAC is the Asian Pacific region. Just think South Korea. We can even think like Singapore, of course. Now, right here, Mbiagi, thank you for the tag. So right here, guys, we have the DTCC's. GTR is the only regulated trade repository in Singapore. The common denominator, again, Singapore, Singapore, Singapore. Well, what is the DTCC? No big deal. They were just the Fed before the Fed, one of the biggest groups in the absolute world. They processed $2 quadrillion in securities in 2019 alone. And yeah, they're looking at DLT, and we've seen the roadmap, dating back to 2015, 2016. Shortly after, of course, the former president of this organization, that was the Fed before the Fed, became chairman of RippleNet, aka the Global Payment Steering Group. Do you see why I'm excited? And do you see why I'm not going to let my XRP go when there's just a little fear in the marketplace? This could potentially be one of the biggest opportunities ever. Now, nothing's guaranteed, but I am sharing my passion. I want to share my research, sharing other people's research, and I'm just grateful that we are essentially keeping up with this ride, because I think it's going to be worth it. And we're just towards another day, or essentially approaching another day towards the inevitable. So we're almost done here, guys. Right here. Latin America gets its first Bitcoin ETF. So I'm not the biggest fan of ETFs by any means, just to share that, especially on Bitcoin, no offense. But notice we see Brazil, and Brazil has been another common denominator in this ecosystem, a BRICS nation. Brazil has become the first country in Latin America to launch a Bitcoin exchange traded fund. And remember, we're still waiting on some ODL news for developing corridors there in Brazil. Of course, the central bank, we've talked a lot about e-banks yesterday, and I hope you guys enjoyed those videos, because I really did, and I think we're going to be referencing a lot of that information in the future, okay? And it doesn't take a genius. We're just looking at the facts, saying, oh, I could see this or this happening, and then that happens in the months ahead, every single time. Now, just a quick question for the community, because I like kind of gauging it and reading the YouTube comments, and I think it helps anybody that just came into the space. What's your favorite way to track your cryptocurrency portfolio? All of your current investments. Do you just use basic apps with an easy UX like Blockfolio? Or do you guys prefer your own private custom spreadsheets on Excel or, Google Slides? What do you guys preferably do? Because I understand sometimes you might have wallets that are hard to keep track of, or you got a bunch of assets on MetaMask, or maybe you're doing some liquidity mining. Things like that, so it can get messy. So what does the average person do? Or maybe it's just a combination of all of these things. Because yeah, there's a lot of opportunities. It's hard to keep track when you have assets in, maybe cold storage and a Ledger Nano, or maybe you have them staking in a variety of wallets like Exodus, or maybe you're just holding them on Coinbase, or maybe you have some assets that you're lending over at Nexo, or you even took a collateralized debt position. So a lot of if and then. So I'm just curious what you guys do. Let me know, and if you're new, hopefully you read through the comments and find something that may help you. So all good and great, guys. I appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video.